On this video, we will be finding the area of a circle. Okay, and I think it's easiest if you just remember the formula for the area of a circle. But before I give you the formula, let me just explain of where the formula was derived. So if you have a circle like this, remember by area we mean the inside, right? We want to find how much square unit is inside this circle. And obviously it's very hard to calculate the area of a round object like the circle. So what mathematicians did is that they've divided up the circle like a pizza, except into much smaller pieces. Okay. And then let me just color the pieces here so that they'll be easier to see. They've cut up the circle into triangular. So each of the pizza pieces are kind of triangular, right? Their end, this end is just a little circular, but other than that, it has a triangular shape. And they have disassembled this circle and rearranged the triangles. So this triangle, it's like this, except this end is round like that. So that's a pizza slice. And then this piece right here, the black, use the black marker here, this black piece, they've put it the other way like this. Okay. And then the red piece again, they put it like this. And then the black piece again, they put it like this. So you see the pattern. This becomes like if you rearrange everything this way, there's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there are 8 black slices and 8 red slices here. I'll just draw 4 of each. So it's going to be something like this, and it's going to extend, it's going to be twice as longer than this. And if you look at this shape right here, it's kind of rectangular. It kind of looks like this. And if these triangles, each of these triangles are cut up into smaller triangles like this, this shape is going to be more like a rectangle. It's going to be more like a rectangle. So that's where the formula is coming from. So remember, for the rectangle, if you want to find the area, you just multiply the width times the length, right? Width and length. Just multiply width times length to get the area. And you can do the same thing here for the circle. You multiply this length here by this length here. Well, what is this length? This length is this length, right? Or more specifically, since I moved this one, it's this length. It's the same length. This length is the radius of the circle, right? That's the radius. And what is this length down here? If you see here, that's like the outside arcs of the red triangle, right? These are the arcs of the red triangles. The ones up here are the arcs of the black triangle. So the two sides, or the two lengths, this length and this length of the rectangle, makes up the circumference of the circle, right? This makes up the circumference of the circle. And since we're just looking at this bottom side, that's going to be 1/2 of the circumference. So to find the area of the circle, we are doing the radius, which is this length here, radius times 1/2 of the circumference. Well, what is the formula for circumference? What is the formula for the circumference of a circle? Well, the circumference is pi times the diameter, or pi times 2 times the radius, because 2 times radius is the same as the diameter. And if you're doing that times 1/2, or let me rewrite this. I'll just switch to order. So the circumference is going to be diameter times pi, and that's the same thing as 2 times r times pi. This diameter is the same as 2 times pi, 2 times the radius. And if you're doing 1/2 times the circumference, you're doing 1/2 times this. And when you do 1/2 times 2, they're going to cancel to 1. So then we just have radius, okay, the radius times 1 times, again, the radius times pi. Or in other words, we have radius times pi. And that turns out to be the formula for the area of the circle. You can write it as radius times pi, or you can write it as radius squared times pi. Remember, squared does not mean times 2, it just means you're multiplying this with itself 2 times. And remember that pi is 3.14, about 3.14. So this is our formula for the area of the circle. Now let's use this formula to find area of some of our circles here. Okay, so let's say we have a circle. Let's say you have a circle where the radius is 2 meters. What is the area of this circle? So the area is going to be the radius, looking back at our formula here, it's going to be the radius times the radius times pi, which is 3.14. Okay, so you just do 2 times 2 is 4 times 3.14. Okay, that's going to be 12.56 meters squared. Okay, so if you know the radius of the circle, you can find the area. Let's try another circle here. Let's say that the radius for this one is 3, or let's not use 3, let's do 5 centimeters. What would the area of this circle be? The area is going to be the radius. Remember, it's radius times pi. So the radius is 5. It's going to be 5 times 5. Oops. Times, and pi we're using 3.14. Okay, so that's going to be 25 times 3.14. And if you calculate that, it becomes 78.5 centimeters squared. Okay, so you just need to do radius times the radius times pi to find the area. Now, what do you do if you, let's keep the formula on the board. If you know the diameter but not the radius, so let's say we know that the diameter, is 12 meters. What would the area of this be? Area of this circle. Well, for the area, we need to do radius times pi, but we don't know the radius, we know the diameter. How do you find the diameter from, or the radius from the diameter? If the diameter is 12 meters, okay, radius is half of the diameter. Remember, this is the radius. The whole thing is the diameter. So radius is going to be 6 meters, and then you're going to use 6 for the radius. And and that is going to be 113.04 meters squared. Okay, so when you see a diameter, don't just plug that in as the radius. Okay, a lot of students make that mistake. Don't do 12 times 12 times 3.14. This is not correct. Okay, you have to change this to radius first by dividing by 2, and then use the formula to find the area. Okay, so that's how you find the area of a circle.